Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Josh Heupel, the Tennessee Vols, getting it done against Alabama. And I'm just going to come out and say, I think Tennessee has the best defense that we see in the entire country. And they'll go back to the early days of 2024 and how we talked about this Tennessee team. Yeah, there's a lot to like about this Tennessee offense, but nobody was talking about how good this Tennessee defense is. That's what won them the football game this afternoon. Alabama, 4 yards per play against this Tennessee defense. Just a phenomenal performance by this Vols defense. And the thing that stands out to me the most, the team speed. I mean, this team flies around the football. We're used to seeing Alabama on offense make other teams look slow. Quite frankly, they just made the Georgia Bulldogs look quite slow a couple weekends ago. This Tennessee defense, you can tell how we've covered Tennessee on the recruiting trail. Those recruiting wins for just the difference makers on the defensive side of the football, that paid off in a massive way this afternoon. Fired up to get into it. Before we do, and as always, to the Tennessee Vol fans, let it fly in the comment section. What a phenomenal football game. The amount of support y'all continue to show to the boys, it's been amazing. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We're going to get to the Tennessee offense. And I think the crazy part about this football game is I don't even think we saw Tennessee play their best football against Alabama. Still, we're able to get it done. Let's start with the defense. This fall's defense, it's different. What are your biggest takeaways coming out of this football game?
So I know people are going to want to talk about the defensive line. I think we knew that was going to be a great unit coming in. It is a great unit. I mean, you said it. They're deep. They're super athletic. Like Jalen Miller, you've kind of said, has made teams look so slow. I mean, that defensive line was chasing them down. The linebackers are great. But I want to talk about that pair of corners they have. I mean, Ricky Gibson and Jermod McCoy might be the best corner in all of college football. He is ungodly good. That interception in the red zone, incredible play. But him and Ricky Gibson I think that might be the best cornerback duo in the country. Like they get, again, they're letting Tennessee play that aggressive brand of defense that it's not bend but don't break at all. It's be super, super aggressive. And teams just can't take big shots on them because those two are nails.
When you allow this Tennessee defense to get active with their front seven, and you can only bring your safeties into the box and fire your linebackers if you have cornerbacks that can kind of hold their own on islands. I think you're totally right. Like they have the personnel on the boundary to allow that front seven to maximize itself in terms of creating havoc with the quarterback. Though you're right. I mean, we've seen what Ryan Williams and this Alabama wide receiver room can do. Like Tennessee, but by far won the day against some really talented and arguably generational talent in terms of Ryan Williams at the wide receiver spot. Dill, you noted it. The linebacker play, even without Pilling, that was I'll put my hand up and say that was a massive concern for me heading into this football game was what does this linebacker room, how do they deal with Jalen Milroe and his legs without a guy like Pilly who is kind of that field manager, that experienced presence in the linebacker room. We cover guys like Arian Carter when they committed to Tennessee. These guys are difference makers. They're the kind of linebackers that you need to have when you want to win at the highest level. They're racers. We see Jalen Milroe make a lot of linebackers miss in space. He wasn't able to do that. And I think it starts with the team speed you have specifically in that linebacker room.
Well, and I think you're starting to see Arian Carter really kind of catch it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you've seen some like bad fits, be out of position a little bit. The athleticism is obvious. We knew that was going to be not the problem coming out of high school, but you're really starting to see him put it together. And again, that was my biggest question for Pilly. It's like not just that Pilly's the best or was probably the best linebacker on that team, but also he was like their field general, if you will. He was the guy who I think was always in the right place. And that's a goal. Now, like, again, I like the athleticism. I like the talent in the linebacker room around Pilly, but do they have that ability to deal with that really complex and challenging run scheme that Bama runs? And I mean, Arian Carter, great game. I think that's the best he's played, and they needed him to play his best. He looked incredible. I'm kind of excited to get deeper into that game probably tonight and into tomorrow morning and see who else flashed. But Arian Carter, I think, really stepped up to the plate and looked awesome. And
that game, Dill, you're into the NFL draft. You're going to be watching a lot of Tennessee film in the winter months because that is whether they're eligible to go into the draft this year or over the next couple of years. You're going to be watching a lot of this Tennessee defense because the amount of NFL talent that is on that roster, specifically on the defensive side of the football, it's incredible. And I think the last thing I would note with Tennessee on the defensive side of the football, really disciplined in terms of how they were getting after Jalen Milroe. Look, we kind of thought that Tennessee would whoop tail in terms of Alabama and pass protection. Like we just thought that was a mismatch heading into it. The conversation was, can you get after Jalen Milroe but keep him in the pocket? Don't let him extend plays. Don't let him be a hero. Tennessee was able to do that not only because the linebackers were flying around the football field, but more importantly, one, they're really athletic on the defensive line, but they were really disciplined in terms of how they got after Jalen Milroe. A lot of times just the pocket collapsing, not giving Jalen Milroe opportunities to leak out of the pocket. If you're trying to stop this Alabama offense, which we're pretty confident is one of the better offenses that we see in the country, just watch the Tennessee film because they did that. That's how you do it. They put on a clinic this afternoon against Alabama here.
No, and they were great. And they're just like to cap off Tim Banks. I really hope he gets a big job at some point. Like, again, I know Tennessee's going to want to keep him, but I think you want to start showing, if you're Tennessee, that you can move defensive coordinators up, get them to big spots, get them to big jobs. Tim Banks is definitely destined for a big one because, man, you think back to 2 years ago when he kind of came in, Tennessee was like, oh, can they run and gun and win shootouts? Like, yeah, they could at times, but this defense, just the mentality they play with, the physicality, the speed, all those things you kind of want. He's done an unbelievable job kind of revolutionizing that. And that was obviously more on him because at the end of the day, yeah, Heupel's the head guy, but he's an offensive guy. Tim Banks came in. I think just like he changed that program. It's unbelievable what he's done.
The Tennessee fans better appreciate Tim Banks. I don't know how much longer he's gonna be the defense coordinator at Tennessee because we're Michigan fans. I took off my Michigan shirt because I'm done with the team right now. You still got yours on. Credit you. If we're looking for a head coach, sign me up for Timmy Banks because he is doing he's doing incredible with this Tennessee defense. Now, let's flip to the offensive side of the football where the Tennessee offense
bad first half, but honestly, I thought Nico rebounded. And that's been one thing I thought's been really disappointing about some of these two of these last games, if you will, Florida and Arkansas, is I don't think you saw him respond particularly great to adversity. Like when he wasn't playing well, I think you saw that snowball. First half was really bad. Like I kind of look at this game, they probably should have won it by 10, 15, 20 points.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They left a lot of points on the board, but credit to Nico. He came back. He got himself involved in the run game. I thought that was really, really helpful. And then he hit a couple really big plays. The one to Thornton, the one to Brazil for the touchdown. Again, he left a lot out there for sure, and you certainly want to clean it up. But he did make some huge plays for that team. And again, I think what you really love is, was it perfect? No, but he did answer the bell, if you will, after getting knocked down.
And I think more importantly, you saw what this Tennessee offense can be. And if you're a Tennessee fan, what happens if you see second half Nico or the flashes of Nico? What happens if you see that more consistently towards the back half of 2024? Dill, we were all over Tennessee, and then we were kind of down on Tennessee after the last couple weeks. And I'm an emotional roller coaster. I'm kind of back. This is a Tennessee team that if I see Nico start to string together some positive performances in the back half of 2024, they make the college football playoffs, they're going to be my pick to win a national championship because how good this Tennessee defense is. And if this Tennessee offense can reach their potential, this is the most dangerous team in college football.
Steady Eddie. I mean,
can I give one more shout out before we get to Dylan Samson? I thought Josh Heupel did such a good job getting Nico some easy throws. Nico was missing a few early, specifically vertically down the field, which has been what he's been struggling with, right? We talked about this. He's 2 of 13 on 20-plus yard throws over the last 2 weeks. I think Josh Heupel recognized that. I think Josh Heupel knew he had a young quarterback that I wouldn't say gun-shy, but a little bit lacking confidence. Let's get him a few easy throws. Let's let him see the football go into his wide receiver's hands. I think that massively helped because in the second half, you saw a more confident Nico. Dill, you're right, though. We were 9 minutes in. We didn't even talk about the player of the football game right here. You've been banging the table for Dylan Samson going back to the offseason. I'll give you the T-box.
I mean, he's just such a monster. It's he's taking so many carries for this team. Deshaun Bishop, too. He's really, really good. So they have a good two-headed back stable, if you will. But Dylan Samson, he's eating up most of the carries. He should be eating up most of the carries. Runs really physically, and obviously when he gets his shots to hit big ones, he hits big ones. And that, again, when you have a quarterback who's kind of, Again, I like the way he played in the second half for sure, but he's missing his explosives.
Yes.
When Dylan Sampson gets his shot to pop him, he pops him, and I think
It,
that has obviously been game
and what
changing.
I love about Dylan Sampson is that he can give you the hard yards too. It's hard to find running backs that can give you both. Like when it's 3rd and 2 and you need him to just press that hole and hit it and pick up the chains, he can do that. But if you want to go get him in space and you get him and blocked up free to the second level, he can also hit those explosive plays. That's the beauty of Dylan Sampson is there ain't many running backs that can give you all of it. And Dylan Sampson can. He's the MVP of this Tennessee offense by far throughout the first 7 games of this football season. Any other shout outs that you want to give to this Tennessee team before we wrap up here? Go watch some Georgia, Texas.
No, I think that's it. And again, I'll probably watch this game back a bunch of different times.
Oh, we'll talk. Oh, yeah.
I'm certainly excited to see, like, again, get into more of the defensive players who are playing well, because obviously the guy's flashing. James Pierce, he probably had his best game when they needed him to have his best game. Arian Carter.
James Pierce is turning it up. Like
He
it's
turned
not.
on you. It's over for
It's
everyone.
not like James Pierce has been bad to start the year. He's just been a little bit more quiet. I think he's been really disruptive, but not necessarily making those flash plays. Like the last couple of weeks, that kid is certainly turning it up and, kind of playing like that number 1 overall draft prospect that we know he is. My last shout out to Josh Heupel, the head coach. Dill, I think we still forget Josh Heupel's a young cat. He's
Yeah.
still maturing and developing as a head coach. To have the anemic offense that you had in the first half, your quarterback clearly just not feeling it, but able to go into halftime and rebound like this Tennessee team did, you're seeing Josh Heupel become that. I mean, we talk about some of the best head coaches in the sport. Josh Heupel's working his way up there, and you are seeing that. And if you're a Tennessee fan, I think you got to coach for the next 2 decades. Like this dude, he's about it, and you're seeing him get better as a head coach. We'll close it out there. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk to y'all later.